Vic had mentioned this is a really good offense for Derek Carr. Do you see that same way as a
Yeah.
defensive guy?
Yeah, they've been explosive. They got good playmakers. Derek's playing really good. And again, a lot of respect for this offense and what they've done and these last 2 weeks. And so it's definitely going to be a challenge.
What happened to C.J.?
Yeah, he tweaked something yesterday. I won't get into the specifics, obviously, but we'll see how today goes.
Is there still a chance A.J. plays on Sunday?
Yeah, well, again, we got some time. We'll see how today goes. We'll see how the rest of the we got today. We got a little bit of tomorrow before, and obviously Sunday before we can have to make that decision. And I know he's working. I know both guys are working their butts off to try to get back.
C.J. does play. He's an emotional player, obviously. This is, I imagine, an emotional situation for him going back there. What's the message to him?
Yeah, I love, my message always has been to him is I love his emotion. I love his energy, and always use that. He's got such an awesome personality that always use that personality to bring people together. And so, be yourself, have fun out there, show your emotion. I would be crazy to tell him not to show his emotion because I show my emotion. But show your emotion, do everything within the rules of the game, and because people feed off that. And so, again, love his energy and just his personality.
How have the players responded this week?
Yeah, I thought we've had a good week of practice. Obviously, we're not done yet. A big one today to go out there and have a good practice today. We had a good meetings this morning. We'll have a good walkthrough. But they've been great. Just ready to get back at it and go. And because we know that at the end of the day, all we can control is our habits, and our habits are what's going to be produce our results. So our habits have to be the exact same that they've been, and any process that we have that hasn't been what we think is up to the standard, that's got to even raise too. So the guys have been great. We've had a good week of work.
Was there any curiosity to see how the team would respond to this early adversity? And if so, what did you learn about that?
Yeah, it wasn't like jumping on to getting a loss to figure it out. But no, I think the curiosity was, I think that happens in camp, right? You have good days in camp, you have bad days in camp, and so it was kind of like answered in that portion of it. So I think, again, we treat so many things. We treat everything like it's game. When we go out and practice, it's like game-like, right? And so those things are answered in the preseason, but naturally, right? The consequences of losing a regular season game. So it may be a little bit, but I think, again, like I said, guys have really responded well. We're 1-1, and we're ready to go out there and play a good football team and get back out there on the field on Sunday. But we gotta have a good practice today.
What are you seeing from C.J.? I'm sorry, not from C.J. From Cooper DeJean as far as his readiness to step in if he's needed?
Yeah, he continues to impress as he's out there. As far as starting with his special teams abilities, he made a really good play in special. You guys weren't out there still, but he made a really good play in special teams yesterday in practice that was showed in front of the team today. He's really had some good reps with the defense. He gets reps with the defense, and he also gets reps on scout team. And so he's just, I think he's been stringing together practice after practice after practice, and our confidence is continuing to grow in him because we know he's a good football player, and I know he wants to be out there on the field and contributing to this team.
Nick, the decision to let Jalen address the team after the loss on Monday night, is that something you thought about in the offseason as like a? No, I think those things happen organically, and as Jalen, what happens in those scenarios is Jalen, while everyone's walking in the locker room, he got emotional himself and started to talk to everybody, and when he started to talk to everybody, it's like, man, this is exactly what you want to happen from the leaders on your football team, and really at the end of it. There wasn't anything for me to say because he said everything I would say, and he said it with great emotion and great care, and and so we like I said, hey, let's take a knee. And that's something that I talk to these guys
every single day, right? We have team meetings every day. We have, I break down practice. Sometimes I just say, hey, that's after a practice too. Sometimes I say nothing and I say, you guys got it. Or sometimes I say something. And so like when the leaders on your football team are are preaching exactly the same things that and are your core values and are important to the football team, like that's like that hits different. That even hits. That's awesome. That's the best thing that can happen. That's the best message that you have. Sometimes you do that in team meetings, like if I feel like something that I'm saying is I've said it a million times and I want them to hear it from another person's perspective. That's where you use video clips of, I don't know, I'll say Roger Clemens saying something. I don't know why, the first person that's popped in my mind. Roger Clemens talking about the same thing. Or, we talk about connect. We've shown that Phillies video from the 93 Phillies team of those guys connecting and talk. So that's just teaching, right? It's not always me talking. You find different avenues to do it. And Jalen had an opportunity to do it, and he was awesome. Like, it just showed how good of a leader he is, and I just really appreciated what he said, and the team appreciated what he said, and it started the process of, hey, getting over that loss and going on to the next one.
Vic said yesterday that Zach Bond had never seen chop blocks before. Isn't that something that should have been addressed in practice or camp? Or
yeah, you do that. You do that in camp. You do that in practice. Now, I always talk about O-line, D-line, or full go, right? Even though you're not tackling to the ground, O-line, D-line, or full go, but we don't let them cut in practice for obvious reasons. Same thing with a tight end slicing back onto a defensive end. You wouldn't want that collision in practice, but you drill it and you try your best to make sure, just like you do with tackling drills. Even though you're not going to the ground, you're drilling it and trying to practice that. And so Bobby King has practiced that. Our defensive line that happens to them too. That they continually to practice that. So you just got to find ways to drill it. Now, if it happens in a preseason game, when Zach had some preseason reps, then that'd be, another thing too. But, he's drilled that, and Zach's played defensive end as well. It's different. It's a different block when a tight end's coming back to slice across, or an offensive line on quick game is coming out to cut you. But yeah, we've drilled that, and we definitely, even sometimes you drill things even more if you don't have a good game doing it. And he knows he got cut a couple times, so they obviously emphasized it even more the last couple days of practice.
Maybe that's a challenging place to play down there with the new center and right guard. How do you prepare for that?
Yeah, you just try to simulate it as much as you can. Just, again, same thing as like the cut blocks. You try to simulate it. The tackling, you try to simulate it. So it'll be loud out there in practice. Today it's been loud. Our ears are ringing with, from the crowd noise yesterday. And sometimes you try to even put it up a little bit loud. Like we have it up as loud as the speakers go, but to make it louder, sometimes you actually use, instead of music, use the crowd noise, which can become annoying, but that's what we've done. And so communicating and being on the same page, and the noise is one of our keys to win this game. And that's really any time you're on the road, but especially in New Orleans. And so those are our key. That's just, again, like a rain game. You put water on the ball. You have periods with water on the ball. You do all those different things. It's the same thing in one of these environments. And we've let the noise be even louder. Like, in a game, it kind of goes like this, right? The noise is loud during the play, then it comes down a little bit, and then back loud. We've tried to keep it loud the whole time, so they're constantly having to communicate within that noise.
We saw you in the locker room the other day, which is typical for you. I guess, what's your approach or philosophy with that?
I'm sorry, Zach.
We saw you in the locker room on Wednesday, which is
I was actually going around to ask a couple guys a question. My approach is usually that's their space. I don't go down there. There's a barbershop in there, though. I'll get a haircut in there. But that, and every once in a while, I might go play a game of ping pong with somebody. But that's their space to be together as a football team. The only time I go in there is if I know they're in there at a certain time, and I gotta ask somebody a question or talk to somebody about something. That's the only reason I was in there the other day.